Over breakfast, my cheating wife casually confessed, "Last night, I slept with my boss. He was amazing in bed, so I'm planning to do it again." I froze. My name's Tyler Brooks, and that was the moment my world stopped turning. We were sitting at our oak kitchen table like any other Saturday morning. Morning sun spilled through the blinds, catching the golden tips of her curled blonde hair. Amanda always made sure her hair was perfect, even when everything else was a wreck. She wore my old hoodie, the one with the college logo, her face half hidden behind a mug of overpriced almond milk latte she'd insisted I start buying last month. And then she said that. I choked mid-sip, the hot coffee slicing down my throat like glass shards. My hand jerked. The mug slipped, crashed against the table, and the splash hit her square across the chest. Amanda screamed and jumped up, knocking her chair over. I didn't flinch. I didn't even move. I just stared. She wiped her hoodie, yelped about the heat, and then laughed. "Relax, Tyler. It's not like it's the end of the world," she smirked, glancing down at her coffee-stained hoodie like it was the bigger problem here. "You've been boring lately. Jonathan knows how to handle a woman." Jonathan, her boss. My heartbeat slammed in my ears. I couldn't speak. Not because I didn't want to. I had so much to say. But my jaw wouldn't move, like it had been locked by the raw absurdity of what I just heard. "Jesus, Tyler. Don't be so dramatic," she added as she bent to pick up the mug. "You never made me feel like a real woman. Jonathan, he awakens me. And I don't feel guilty about it." She actually rolled her eyes. At that moment, something inside me snapped. Not the kind of explosion people expect. No yelling, no fists pounding the table. Something far worse. A cold, quiet detachment. A darkness that crept into my spine and made everything seem still. I looked at her and no longer saw my wife. I saw a stranger. No, worse, a parasite that had been feeding off me for years while pretending to love me. Amanda, the woman I met in grad school. The woman who used to fall asleep on my chest, whispering dreams about the future. The woman who made me promise to build a life with her, to protect her, to support her dreams while she figured herself out. And I did. I did everything she asked. And now? She was bragging about crawling into bed with her greasy, balding boss, like it was some kind of goddamn promotion. She stood there, arms crossed, staring at me like I was the crazy one. "You gonna say something, or just sit there with that murdery look?" she asked, licking a drop of latte from her lip. "Honestly, you should thank me. At least now you know. Most women would have just lied." "You lied plenty," I whispered. She smiled. "Yeah, but not about this." She tossed the ruined hoodie on the floor and turned to walk out of the kitchen. That's when I noticed it, her phone lighting up on the counter. A message preview popped up. "Jonathan, last night was insane. Can't wait to taste you again." Winking face. I swear, I felt my soul leave my body for a second. I picked up the phone, stepped quietly behind her, and placed it face up on the table. "Jonathan says hi," I said. She froze. And finally, for the first time that morning, Amanda looked uncomfortable, but not ashamed. No, Amanda didn't do shame. Instead, she spun around, snatched the phone, and hissed, "You went through my messages?" "I didn't have to," I replied coldly. "He's texting you at breakfast. Guess he really wants to mark his territory." She scowled. "You're such a child. Always so sensitive. That's why I had to look elsewhere." I took a slow breath and stood up. "Amanda, we're not done here. Not by a long shot." She narrowed her eyes, turned toward the hallway, and called out, "Hey Siri, play Beyoncé." Loud. And that's when it hit me. She didn't care. Not even a little. Not about the pain. Not about the betrayal. Not about me. And in that moment, as the first beats of "Don't Hurt Yourself" filled the house, I made a silent promise. She was going to feel everything. To be continued. She slammed the bedroom door behind her like it was punctuation to her performance. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the coffee-stained table, my hands trembling, my breath shallow. My body wanted to move, scream, smash every fragile thing in that house. But my mind was plotting. I grabbed my keys, my jacket, and left. I didn't even know where I was going, but my body took me to the only place that felt untouched by her poison, my brother Logan's apartment. He was younger, louder, and a little unhinged, but he was loyal. And right now, loyalty was more valuable than air. He opened the door shirtless, holding a beer at 9 a.m. "Damn, Ty. You look like you just got hit by a F*******ing bus. I did, I muttered, pushing past him. The bus is named Amanda. His smirk dropped. We sat in silence for a minute. Then I told him everything. Every twisted word, every smug glance, the phone message, the music. When I was done, he looked at me like I'd just told him I had cancer. She said that? Out loud. At breakfast. Like she was ordering a bagel. Logan leaned back, running a hand through his messy hair. Bro, that's evil. That's next-level villain **T. You sure she's not working with the devil? She is the devil, I muttered. He handed me the beer. So what's the move? And I didn't know. I really didn't. Divorce? Revenge? Burn the house down? No, not yet. I needed more. Proof. Leverage. Something I could use. I stayed at Logan's that night. Couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her voice in my head, that tone like she was reading a weather forecast. He was amazing in bed. The next morning, I went back home. Amanda wasn't there, but her laptop was. I hesitated only for a second. Then I opened it. Passwords. Please. I set them all. She never bothered to change anything. Probably thought I was too boring to care. Her emails were plentiful. Dozens of threads with her boss, Jonathan. They weren't even subtle. Attachments labeled meeting notes that opened into videos I can't unsee. Her in our bedroom, on our sheets, moaning a name that wasn't mine. But the worst part wasn't the sounds. It was her face. She looked alive, like someone who'd been dead and finally felt the sun again. It wasn't fake. It wasn't guilty. She looked happy. I closed the laptop slowly. And for the first time since yesterday, I smiled. Because now, I had everything I needed. Later that day, she walked in, sunglasses on, latte in hand, acting like nothing happened. Oh, you're back, she said, clearly annoyed. Thought you'd crawl to your mother's. I was with Logan. She rolled her eyes and opened the fridge. Tell him I said hi. Or don't. I never liked him. I know, I said calmly. He always knew what you were. She paused mid-reach, then looked at me over her shoulder. What I am, Tyler, is honest. That's more than I can say for you. Honest. I laughed, standing slowly. You've been lying for years. Pretending. Faking everything. You made me think we were building something together while you were screwing your boss in hotel rooms. She closed the fridge, hard. At least he makes me feel something. You haven't touched me in months. Because I felt something was wrong, I snapped. And guess what? I was right. She walked past me, bumping my shoulder like we were in a damn high school hallway. If you're gonna cry, do it in the shower. I've got brunch in an hour. I watched her walk away, hips swaying like nothing mattered. And that was it. The last time I ever saw her as my wife. From that moment on, she was a project. A puzzle I'd already solved, but wanted to destroy piece by piece. And oh, I had plans. This wasn't going to end with arguments or paperwork. She made it ugly. So now, it was my turn. She strutted out of the house like she was heading to a fashion shoot. Tight jeans, oversized sunglasses, and a careless smirk that still makes my skin crawl. No goodbye, no glance back. Just slammed the door and left her wedding ring on the kitchen counter like it was a gum wrapper. I didn't touch it. I stared at that ring for maybe 20 minutes, wondering how something so small could carry so many lies. She thought I'd break, that I'd beg, that I'd spiral into some pathetic wreck who'd be too weak to fight back. But she didn't realize something important. I wasn't trying to save the marriage anymore. I was planning her downfall. I made 3 calls. First was to Logan. I'm going nuclear, I told him. Good, he said. Want help? Second was to a guy I knew from college, Seth, now a divorce lawyer with a mean streak and a taste for revenge cases. He answered on the second ring. I've been waiting for a call like this, he said after I told him what happened. Let's burn her world down. Third call was to Amanda's company. I posed as an IT contractor. Got some interesting info from their website's backend that, with a little digging and a borrowed login from her unlocked laptop, led me to employee files. Turned out Amanda's affair wasn't just scandalous, it was against company policy. Clear-cut code of conduct violation. That smug bastard Jonathan? Married too. I spent the next 3 hours gathering everything, screenshots, videos, emails. I made a folder labeled The Real Amanda and copied it to a flash drive. Then another copy. Then cloud storage. Triple backup. This wasn't just insurance. It was a weapon. She came back around 4, wearing a different outfit. No bra, hair tousled like she'd just rolled out of someone else's bed. Probably had. She walked in like she owned the place. "You're still here?" she said, annoyed. "Didn't think you'd have the spine." I didn't answer. I just looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I saw everything without the filter of love. She was beautiful, yes, but cruel, lazy, arrogant, and underneath that perfect skin and white teeth, empty. Just an actress without a script. "I packed your things," I said. "They're in the guest room." She blinked, momentarily thrown off. "Excuse me. You're leaving?" I said. "Tonight. The locks change tomorrow." She laughed, actually laughed, and walked up to me like she was talking to a child. "You don't get to tell me what to do. I pay half the mortgage." "Not anymore," I said, handing her a single sheet of paper. "Here's your buyout offer. Generous, considering you violated our prenup." Her eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" "The clause about infidelity. You don't remember?" She snatched the paper and scanned it. Her face drained. "Don't worry," I said, leaning in. "I have all the evidence. And I've already spoken to HR at your company." That's when her mask cracked. Her mouth opened, closed. She stepped back. You called my work?" "Jonathan's wife will be getting a copy of the files tonight," I said. "Oh, and your mom too. She always liked to say I wasn't good enough for you. Let's see how she feels about this." Amanda dropped her bag. "You wouldn't." "I would," I said calmly. "And I did." She lunged toward me. "You're ruining my life." "No," I said. "You did that the moment you bragged about betraying me over breakfast." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me, like the man in front of her wasn't the one she'd married. And that was the point. That man. He was dead. I walked past her and opened the front door. "You've got 10 minutes to get out. After that, I call the cops." She looked like she wanted to scream, to fight, to throw something. But instead, she did something worse. She smiled. "This isn't over," she whispered. "You think you've won? You haven't seen what I can do." I stepped closer, looked her dead in the eyes. "No, Amanda, you haven't seen what I can do." She left, and the silence that followed wasn't peace. It was war waiting to happen. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. My phone was flooded, texts from unknown numbers, voicemails from Amanda's friends pretending to be concerned, and one missed call from a blocked number I knew had to be her. There were new comments on my old Instagram posts, subtle jabs, fake sympathy, thinly veiled accusations. The campaign had started. She was trying to flip the story. I should have seen it coming. Amanda never played fair. She played smart. And mean. Around noon, Logan showed up with breakfast and a USB drive. "I pulled some security cam footage from that bar on 9th, he said, grinning. "Guess who was getting handsy with the boss in public?" I watched the video on my laptop. Jonathan had his hand on Amanda's lower back, then his lap, then her thigh. She leaned in, whispered something in his ear, and he laughed like he just heard the punchline of a dirty joke. They kissed, in full view of a dozen strangers. It was disgusting. And perfect. The final nail. By 2 p.m., I had everything ready. One copy went to Seth, my lawyer. One went to Jonathan's wife, which I personally mailed with a note that read, "You deserve the truth too." One copy, encrypted, went to Amanda's HR inbox with a simple subject line, "Violation of company policy. Immediate attention required." Then I made myself a drink, turned off my phone, and waited. By 5:43 p.m., it all erupted. Amanda showed up, slamming her fists on the door like a cop on a raid. I opened it slowly, sipping bourbon, staying silent as she stormed in like a woman possessed. "You sent it," she hissed. "You sent everything." "Yep." She stared at me, breathing heavy, mascara smudged like she'd been crying, or faking it. "I lost my job," she said, voice cracking. "Jonathan's wife?" She showed up at the office. Screamed at both of us in front of the whole team. "He's suspended. I'm blacklisted." "You ruined me, Tyler." "No," I said, voice cold. "You ruined yourself. I just made sure the truth came out." She stepped closer, like proximity could change my mind. "We can fix this. You know we can. You're just angry." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "You think this is about anger?" She blinked, unsure. "This is about freedom, Amanda," I said. "From you. From your lies. From pretending." Her tone shifted like a switch. "You'll regret this," she snapped. "No one else will love you. You think anyone wants a man this petty?" This week, I took another sip and smiled. Maybe not. But at least I'm not a liar. Or a cheater. Or a woman who brags about betting her boss over ing eggs and toast. That hit her. Her jaw clenched. She reached for the door, paused. You really think this makes you strong? Taking everything from me? No, I said, stepping forward. Strength is watching you crumble, knowing I could finish you, and choosing not to. So go. Be miserable somewhere else. This house, this life, it's mine now. You're just a bad story I'll tell once, then never again. She left without another word. And for the first time since the betrayal, I breathed. Not because the pain was gone, but because I'd finally stopped bleeding. What followed were quiet days. Some nights I'd still wake up expecting her next to me, instinctively reaching out. Muscle memory. Torture in disguise. But there was no scent of her shampoo. No soft rustle of her turning in her sleep. Just silence. And silence was better than betrayal. One evening, Logan and I sat on the back porch. He lit a cigarette, stared out at the trees. You ever gonna date again? He asked. I shrugged. Eventually. He laughed. You sound thrilled. It's not that, I said. It's just, when you've seen the mask come off someone you trusted for years, you stop looking at faces. You start looking at motives. At lies in their laughter. At the way people pause before answering. He nodded slowly. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'll get there, I added. And when I do, I'll never be that blind again. I stood, walked inside, and deleted every photo I had of Amanda. Every folder. Every memory file. I cleaned the house, changed the curtains, sold the bed. She thought she could burn everything down and walk away laughing. But she underestimated the one man she thought would never fight back. Me. 2 weeks passed. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It became a friend. Something solid I could lean against. Amanda tried calling me 7 times. Different numbers. Once even from her mother's phone. I never picked up. There was nothing left to say. She had her stage, her spotlight, her moment to humiliate me. And now the curtain had dropped, and she was just another washed-up actress in a role no one wanted to watch anymore. But I wasn't done yet. Not because I needed revenge. I already had that. She lost her job, her reputation, her golden boy boss. What I needed now was clarity. Closure, maybe. Or just to make sense of the wreckage. So I called someone I hadn't spoken to in months, Rachel. Amanda's old friend. The one she stopped inviting over once Rachel got married. The one Amanda once called jealous and stuck up. I always suspected Amanda hated her because Rachel saw through her. When Rachel picked up, I barely got my name out before she said, Tyler, I was wondering when you'd call. She invited me to a coffee shop near the marina. I got there early. She walked in wearing sunglasses and a ponytail, looking around like she didn't want to be recognized. When she sat down, she didn't waste time. I warned you once, remember? She said. At your engagement party. I told you Amanda wasn't the person you thought she was. I remember, I said. And I ignored you. She sipped her drink, then leaned in. I didn't come here to gloat. I came to give you something. From her purse, she pulled out a small USB drive and slid it across the table. What's this? I asked. Her phone backup, she said. She used to sync her stuff through my Wi-Fi when she stayed over. I don't think she realized it was still happening. I hesitated. Why give it to me now? Because I hated watching her use you, Rachel said. You deserve better. And you still do. I thanked her and left. Back at home, I opened the files. Messages. Photos. Voice notes. And then I found the journal. Amanda had kept a voice diary. Entries dated back over a year. She didn't talk about me like a husband. She talked about me like a burden. A backup plan. An insurance policy, if her affair with Jonathan didn't become something more. One recording stopped me cold. It was from 6 months ago. He's still so clueless. God, if I have to fake one more night of watching documentaries and pretending I care about his stupid little job stories, I'll lose it. Jonathan says he might be able to move me up to regional if I keep him interested. And honestly, that's way more valuable than anything Tyler gives me. I paused the audio. Felt my hands shake again. This wasn't just betrayal, it was strategy. She played me like a piece on a board. Every lie, every fake laugh, every kiss, it was all transactional. That night, I sat in my car, parked outside the empty office building Amanda used to work in. I stared at the sign, Crescent Financial Group. Her old kingdom. A security guard noticed me and tapped the window. Everything okay, sir? I nodded. Yeah, just remembering something I should have seen coming. When I got back home, I deleted the files. All of them. Rachel's backup, the videos, everything. Not because I wanted to forget. Because I was done carrying the weight of her. Amanda tried one last move 2 days later. She showed up at my door wearing the red dress I once said made her look like fire. The one she knew I loved. She knocked. I opened. She smiled, softly, like none of it happened. "I miss you," she whispered. "Can we talk?" I looked at her for a long time. Then I said, "You look better in the rear view." And I closed the door in her face. The lock clicked behind her like the final note of a song. That was the day I stopped surviving and started living. A month went by. It's strange how fast life stitches itself back together after being torn to shreds. The first few days feel like you're crawling through glass, memories cutting you with every breath. But then, slowly, your mind starts to numb, your heartbeat finds a rhythm again, and you realize you haven't thought about her in hours. Then days. I renovated the bedroom, threw out the mattress, bought a new one, memory foam, king-sized, fresh sheets in dark charcoal. No more scent of her hair on the pillow. No more lipstick stains on the mirror. I even repainted the walls. Gray. Clean. Cold. Honest. Logan helped me hang a new light fixture. He cracked jokes the whole time. "So what happens if she shows up again?" he asked, tightening the last screw. "New man, new house, but same psycho on the porch?" I shook my head. "She won't." But I was wrong. It happened one Friday night. I had music on, cooking dinner. Not because I needed to impress anyone, but because it felt good. I was halfway through slicing chicken when the knock came. Firm. Repetitive. I didn't have to guess. I opened the door. Amanda stood there, soaked from the rain, hair sticking to her cheeks, her eyeliner smeared. Not the dramatic, vengeful Amanda I was used to. This version looked lost. Shaking, barely holding it together. "Tyler," she whispered. I didn't speak. She stepped forward. "Please, just let me talk." The smell of cheap perfume hit me first. The same one she used to wear on the nights she worked late. I crossed my arms. "Make it quick." She hesitated. "Jonathan, he's gone. Left the company. His wife kicked him out. HR won't return my calls. I've applied everywhere, but it's like I'm radioactive. I don't have anyone else. And that's my problem?" I asked. "No," she said. "It's mine. But I wanted to say I'm sorry." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was insulting. After all the lies, the humiliation, the public display of betrayal. Now, when everything collapsed, she found the courage to show up with a four-letter word she thought would fix it. "No, Amanda," I said slowly. "You're not sorry. You're scared. There's a difference." Her lip quivered. She looked down. "I thought you'd always be there. That no matter how bad things got, you'd still be waiting." That made me pause. Because that's exactly what she believed. That I was her safety net. Her emotional punching bag. Her backup plan when plan A, riding her boss to a better future, fell apart. "You really don't get it, do you?" I said. "You didn't just cheat. You enjoyed cheating. You bragged about it. You laughed in my face like I was beneath you. And now, because the man you gambled on left you bankrupt, I'm supposed to take you back?" She looked up, eyes glossy. "I didn't mean to lose everything." "But you did," I said, leaning in. "And the worst part? You didn't even lose me. You threw me away." Silence hung between us. Rain tapped the railing. She wiped her cheek, smearing the mascara even more. "So this is it. This was it the second you opened your mouth at breakfast and told me about him like it was no big deal." Her shoulders dropped. She stepped back, nodding. "You're right." And for once, she didn't argue, didn't twist the story. She just turned and walked down the steps, disappearing into the storm like a ghost finally realizing it's no longer welcome in the living world. I closed the door, locked it, and this time, I felt nothing. Not relief. Not rage. Just peace. Not long after that, I met someone new. Her name was Cassidy. We met at a bookstore. Yeah, actual meet-cute level stuff. She was reaching for a book I already had in hand. We joked, talked, then met again. Then again. She asked once if I'd ever been married. I told her the truth. "All I'll say is this," I said. "She taught me exactly what kind of love I never want again." Cassidy nodded, gently took my hand, and said, "Then maybe now you're ready for the kind you do want." And you know what? Maybe I am. Cassidy was different. She didn't ask for things with expectation. She asked with curiosity. When she smiled, it didn't feel rehearsed. When she touched my arm, it didn't feel like leverage. There was no edge, no hidden meaning in her words. It was just her, warm, sincere, and patient in a way that made me uncomfortable at first. I wasn't used to gentle. I was used to Amanda's sharpness, her sarcasm, her constant tug-of-war between need and contempt. The first time Cassidy came over, she noticed the house immediately. "It's clean," she said with a playful smile, looking around. "But it feels like someone's trying hard not to remember something." She wasn't wrong. The house was spotless. Everything in place. No photographs. No color. Just grays and blacks and cold metallic tones. Like I was still trying to wipe Amanda off the walls. "You caught me," I said. "Exorcising ghosts, one IKEA shelf at a time." She chuckled. "Well, maybe it's time to hang something new up." That night, we sat on the couch and talked. About everything. And for the first time, I didn't hold back. I told her the story. Not the version people give when they don't want to sound bitter, the real story. The breakfast. The phone. The humiliation. The rage. The collapse. She listened without flinching. When I finished, she didn't say, "I'm sorry," or "You deserved better." She said, "She didn't break you. She just stripped away the parts you never needed." And something inside me clicked. Because she was right. Amanda didn't destroy me. She exposed me. Showed me every crack I'd ignored, every red flag I'd justified. She didn't just cheat. She forced me to stop being blind. In a twisted way, that was her final gift. And Cassidy, she was the part one earned after walking through hell with my eyes open. Weeks passed. I started smiling more. Sleeping better. I even went into Amanda's old closet, something I hadn't touched since she left, and cleaned it out completely. Donated everything. Clothes, shoes, jewelry. Even her old perfume bottle, still half full and haunting. One night, Logan dropped by unannounced. He stood at the door, squinting. "You look weird," he said. "Like happy." "I think I might be," I replied. He stepped in, looked around. "Where's the ghost?" "Gone." "Good," he said. "Because guess who I ran into last night?" I already knew the answer, but I raised my eyebrows anyway. "Amanda." "Of course." Logan tossed his jacket over the chair and cracked a beer. "She's working at some marketing firm downtown. Junior position. Not the glam job she had before. Says she's staying with a friend until she can stabilize." I didn't ask for more. He watched me for a second. She looked different. Tired. Smaller, somehow. I nodded. She always needed the world to feed her ego. Now that it's not, she's shrinking. He grinned. "Well, good. She can shrink all the way to hell for all I care." We laughed. Real, unforced laughter. And that night, as Cassidy lay curled next to me, her fingers tracing lazy circles on my chest, I realized something else. Amanda may have left scars. Deep ones. But they didn't bleed anymore. They were just reminders. That I survived. That I learned. That I finally knew the difference between someone who holds you and someone who holds you back. So if you're reading this, whoever you are, hear me now. You will feel like the world is ending. You'll stare at a kitchen table, stunned by the words you never thought you'd hear. You'll question everything. Your worth. Your sanity. Your memories. But if you face it, really face it, on the other side of that pain is something better. Not just a better partner. A better you. And no one can ever take that away again. It's been almost a year now. The house feels different, warmer, brighter. Cassidy's touch is everywhere. A crooked photo frame of us from a weekend trip to the coast. A half-read novel on the armrest. A mug with her lipstick print next to mine. No ghosts left. Just life. Sometimes I still think about Amanda. Not because I miss her, but because I can't forget what she taught me, even if her lesson came with bloodied edges. She was the wreckage I had to crawl through to get here. And maybe that's just how life works sometimes. The people who hurt you the most don't vanish. They become landmarks. Warnings. Reminders of every mistake you won't make again. One afternoon, I got a message from an unknown number. "I hope you're doing okay. I wanted to say I'm truly sorry. Not because I lost, but because I finally understand what I threw away. I hope you're happy. I hope someone finally gave you what I never could. Amanda." I stared at the screen for a long time, then deleted the message. No anger. No sadness. Just peace. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. And I gave mine the day I stopped waiting for her apology to mean something. So here I am. Alive. Whole. Loved. Not perfect. Not without scars. But stronger because of them. If you've been through what I've been through, or if you're going through it now, remember this. You don't need to get even. You don't need to make them suffer. Just survive. Survive long enough to find yourself again. And when you do, live like hell. Love harder. Laugh louder. Guard your peace like it's gold. And never, never let anyone convince you that you are easy to leave. Because the right person will see you, choose you, and stay. Every damn day.